Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast, The Best Possible Me, where we look at relationship dilemmas, try to open different viewpoints and perspectives in hope that if everyone does this, we all become the best possible me. And my name is Cindy.
And my name is Ella.
Welcome back. Our episode 14 today. We have a very interesting story.
Yes. It's called Saw Something I Shouldn't Have. Can you folks advise?
Right. Okay.
So, Cindy, do you want to start reading?
Yes. I will start reading the story then. This is the original story. So, I dropped in at a family member's place unannounced the other day to pick up something that my wife told me about. And when I got there, I found the husband with another woman while his wife was away. He had a panic in his eyes, and I just grabbed what I came there for, made random small talk, and left. I didn't catch them in the act or anything. They were just in the pool together with some drinks, and he never gets in the pool even with his wife. These two family members have had a shit marriage for a long time, so it doesn't surprise me, but I don't think he'd be able to attract another woman. And so I think it was a hired escort. Doesn't really matter. Either way, I'm not sure how to deal with this. I told my wife because I couldn't bear this on my own and because it's her sister who is getting potentially cheated on. The real problem is that I don't want to be the person who potentially has to end their marriage. I don't particularly like drama, and he is a total loose cannon. I am hoping that he just comes clean without me having to say anything. But that hasn't happened yet. It's been 2 days. But my only other thought is that I should send a rather vague text like, so what, that was awkward on Saturday, what's going on? So this isn't a bros versus hoes type of situation either, but I could use some perspective on how to deal with this.
Okay,
so, yeah, that's
interesting.
The story. That's
Yes. Okay, so I think that the first question we need to ask ourselves is should you tell the partner if you find someone is cheating, generally? What do you think?
I think what he did was right. Obviously, the person who wrote the post originally, he came home, he couldn't bear having seen this, and he talked to his wife.
Yes, but now he's putting his wife in a very awkward situation of, do I need to tell my sister or not?
Right.
So we're still with the same dilemma of,
okay, yes.
do we tell the other side of what you saw or not? And obviously, I think that maybe the answer to that has a lot to do with how close you are to the other side.
Yes, and how much you really know about what's going on.
True.
With the family and the marriage.
Yes. And how much you actually know what you actually saw. Because he didn't catch them in the act, and we don't really know what happened there.
He did say what's really interesting was there was a panic in his eyes.
That he read a panic.
He read panic, yes.
So again, we're back to assumptions. And yes, a lot of times assumptions are correct, but he doesn't know for a fact. I also feel that there's a bit of a current just by the way he's talking about the guy.
Yeah, he has lots of assumptions.
Yes.
For instance, he said, I didn't think he would be able to attract another woman. So in his eyes, does he not think this husband in the story is a traditionally attractive person, or he must have some negative thoughts about this person to begin with?
I'm almost asking myself if he doesn't deep inside think that he's a bit of a loser.
Well, he did describe him as loose cannon.
I don't know.
More on the drama side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I mean, obviously, when you're coming to a situation and assumptions come in, your predisposition about the people
Yes.
is very impactful. So if you don't like one side and you do like the other, or you're closer to one than the other, then obviously your assumptions will be directed much more strongly than if you liked both of them, for example. So that kind of comes into here as well. But generally, is it your business to tell someone else or not?
It is such a hard question, Ayala. I think we see this type of situation portrayed in movies and TV shows all the time. I don't think there is a yes or no answer. Again, it depends how close you are with this person and what is the actual situation that was happening. From this story, you can very much say, is he cheating on his wife, or is he hanging out with a colleague that might have overstepped the boundary? Like he invited someone to his home while his wife is away. Maybe his wife is away, but we don't know.
And maybe she's working at the moment.
Yeah, we don't.
Maybe he's theoretically working from home and she's working from the office. We don't know those details here.
Right, okay.
So if he knows that the wife is working from the office and he...
Oh, no, it was a Saturday. Wife was away. Wife is away. Yes.
Yes, you're right. Sorry, I missed that.
That's right. Yeah. It's while the wife is away on a trip or something. So that's added to his suspicion.
Yes, or on a shopping spree, or who knows. Yes. Okay.
So if wife is not away, wife is home.
Well,
that's not weird at all. That's a social event. They invited a friend over.
Yes, or it's something that is agreed upon.
Okay,
and which is none of our business.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that what we need to ask ourselves really when we're coming to should I even tell or not is how will telling impact you and your relationship with both sides. So in this case, if he will tell his sister-in-law,
yes,
how will that impact the relationship between him and the sister-in-law? It might get them closer.
The sister-in-law might appreciate, like you said, might really appreciate this intel.
and she might be really, really angry at her husband, but it might come out on you with the brother-in-law because you're the one that theoretically ruined their marriage.
That's what he said. He doesn't want to take responsibility of being the person potentially ending the marriage.
Yes. And how will it impact your relationship with the brother-in-law? So obviously, if they separate, I don't think that he cares a lot for this brother-in-law.
For that guy, yes.
But what if they don't separate? What if
they stay together?
Yes, and how awkward will that be in family meetings?
Yeah.
So I think that is something that you need to look at as well.
And another point I have is, so if in this story, this husband and wife, they are in a marriage, if your spouse is cheating on you, would you know before other people tell you? Like, you would have your suspicions.
Possibly you would be in such a situation that you prefer closing your eyes to, and you'll be in full denial.
But deep inside, you know there must be something happening.
I'm not sure. A lot of times they talk about the wife or the husband is the last one to know. I think that...
okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think it depends on the type of relationship and the type of communication and the amount of vulnerability and defense mechanisms that a person generally uses when something doesn't strike them correctly. But yeah... So the next question that comes into mind is, should the decision, if to tell or not, have to do with your thoughts about the person or the marriage? So we said he has a bad, he doesn't really respect.
Some negative assumptions, yes.
Brother-in-law. He doesn't really respect the marriage or thinks that the marriage isn't a good or a healthy one. So does that give you more of a right because of that to speak than if you didn't have those thoughts?
I think emotionally it might give him a little bit more urge or motivation to do so.
Yep.
But if we look at it in a moral perspective, it really doesn't.
Yeah. But because we're human and we work, unfortunately, more often than not through our emotions and not rational thinking, then it might really motivate him to choose to talk and to choose to ruin this marriage because he thinks it's shit anyway and she might be better off with someone else.
Yeah. But even if he talks, it's not it's not ending the marriage. And even if the marriage ended because of what he's told the wife, so the sister-in-law, it's still not on him because he's not the one who did so-called cheating. Yeah.
Yes, but he's the one that pulled the pin.
But when the husband decided to cheat on his wife, he knows how situation gonna end.
True. But then we're back to, did the husband actually cheat? Because
True.
again, we know that it's an assumption here. We don't know details.
They're in the pool, they were swimming together.
Yeah. Another question that kind of comes up is, why is it automatically telling the wife? Why not talk directly with the guilty party?
True, that's something he actually think about. At the end, he said, "Oh, I'm thinking about sending a text message to him that was awkward on Saturday. What's going on?" So you would lean more on send that message.
Yes, because I actually think that the more moral thing to do is not to go automatically, especially when it's an assumption. But even if it's not an assumption, even if you saw it actually happening in the act,
Right. That'll be more awkward, but yeah.
Obviously. But I would come to the husband, to guy in this case
first. Yeah.
and talk to him directly and say, hey, that was very awkward.
On? Yeah. Are you cheating or not?
Yeah, it's really none of my business.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I actually think that it's unfair that you're doing this behind your wife's back.
Of course.
And I think you need to open up the conversation of what's happening in your relationship and make decisions on what's happening in the relationship and not just hurt in order for you to feel good.
That's a good. Yeah, that's actually a really mature way to deal with this. Right. Okay.
So leaving the ball in the cheater's court,
Yeah.
but in a way that it's very clear, look, I'm giving you until this date to actually open up a conversation with your wife about it. Otherwise, you're putting me in a very awkward position. And because she's my sister-in-law and I have some kind of responsibility as a family member or, for her welfare, then I'll have to raise it. So you're actually almost shoving him to the wall of, it better come from you rather than from me. It'll sound much better if it comes from you, but it's coming out.
Right. Okay. It also gives the husband an opportunity to explain himself to the person. To him, what was happening. Well, he might lie. We don't know.
Yes.
But
yes. And look, he might lie, but he might actually, again, because in this case it's an assumption.
yes.
Obviously, if you catch him in the act, it's much
That's
more clear.
not assumption. Yeah, that's concrete evidence. Yes.
Yes. Although, again, it could be that they have this
You have
open marriage type.
or they
Between-
pre-agreed upon.
Yeah,
or-
that it's, again, it's none of his business, but because he caught him in the act, then he can actually say, my wife knows this is an agreement between us, but actually it's none of your business, and then you can believe him or not or whatever. But again, we don't know really what's going on here, and there's a lot of assumptions, which makes it much more difficult. And that's why you're right in it gives him the opportunity to either lie or say the truth of what actually happened there.
Yes. Do we have the other side of the story that we wrote?
Okay.
Do you like to read that?
Sure. Okay. So this is Bill, the guy that was in the pool, and his side of the story. I have a work colleague I am close to. Nothing sexual or intimate, just enjoy chatting about work stuff, cheering each other up on bad days, things like that. To be honest, I can't imagine we will ever have anything more, as she is out of my league and she's younger, very pretty, and always only dates rich guys, which I am none of. I think she sees me as an older brother type. My wife knows her and says I actually treat her like a younger sister that always has dramas in her life, and I help her look at them in a more grown-up way. She had come over to our place a few times when the drama hits, as she lives in the neighborhood. And we sometimes carpool to work as well. We work at a very individualized workplace where everyone does their own hours. And as long as you bring results by the end of the month, no one cares when you work or work from the office, home, or cafe. Anyway, she came by today all teary after she had another blow from a bad date, talking about how unlucky she is in love and that she will never get married. She's 32. Anyway, she was devastated, not from the date, but from her situation. And I felt she just needed to relax a bit. So I told her to bring her bathers and we will just call it a day. That seemed to help. She calmed down and at some point even threw me into the pool, which got me into a young guy feeling that I don't usually feel. All of a sudden, John, my brother-in-law, walks into the house. I was perplexed to see him walk in without knocking or anything. He does have a key. Anyway, he seemed very embarrassed, probably for not knocking on the door when he just came in to take something that his wife needed. We chatted and he left quickly. He acted a bit weird, but I didn't really care, as we don't really like each other too much. He's very judgmental and uppity in my standards. Anyway, we were both very polite for our we're both on a very polite for our wives, as they are sisters kind of relationship.
Okay, interesting. It does sound like, but for me, it's still weird though. He sees himself as the older brother to this younger girl and work.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any overstepping some sort of boundary here?
Look, if this relationship with a work colleague actually became more of a friendship type, and there are situations like that. There are many times where you meet someone at work, you really like them, and you actually become friends outside of work as well.
Right, okay.
And I can see a 32-year-old liking an older person that from her perspective is not at all a potential for any kind of future relationship, as a kind of a big brother or even maybe possibly a father figure kind of thing, that cheers her up and helps her see things in different perspectives and things like that. So why, he has a pool in his backyard. He invites her over because she feels, really sad. She comes over as they're splashing around, I can actually see this as reality. I don't think that this is a made-up story. And it looks like the wife knows this woman. It looks like the wife met this woman a few times already.
Okay, yeah.
He clearly says she's out of my league. I can't even see her as, anything sexual or intimate or anything like that.
But is that the problem? He only thinks there's no chance between them because she's out of his league. What if she's not? Or what if she is, okay, traditionally speaking, out of his league? That's what his perspective, like she's so out of my league, she's not going to be attracted to me anyway. But is he attracted to her?
He doesn't really talk about that. But then his wife actually knows him. If he was actually attracted to her and it would have come out, I don't think he'd be comfortable in his wife knowing her.
Right. Okay, so it's more like a family and friend situation.
That's how I read it. I have a very close friend that is much younger than me. And over the years, he actually became a family friend, and he's friends with my husband and everything. And the relationship is very clear between me and him. But now we're close to his wife as well, and he's close to my husband, and there's never ever been anything sexual between us or anything like that. It's really much more a big sister or mother type relationship than anything else.
Right. So this type of relationship do exist. But if we come down to the situation, what was happening on that day, do you think the husband has asked for the wife's like, I'm not saying he needs to ask for her permission to invite this colleague over, but do you think he has talked to her like, hey, this is what's happening, I'm inviting her over to cheer her up? Do you think the wife is aware that the pool party is happening?
Even if not, at this particular moment,
Okay.
the way the husband, the Bill is talking about the situation, it looks like he will clearly tell his wife when she comes home from wherever she is. It doesn't seem like he tried to hide it or was embarrassed by it. And he even talks about that embarrassing moment where John, the brother-in-law, walks in. That the panic was because he didn't understand how someone would walk into the house without knocking first. So yes, he was panicked, but he was panicked from a very different perspective.
Right. Okay.
So I think that what John read into the situation is very, very different to what actually happened there.
Right. Okay. John thought Bill panicked because he didn't want to be seen in that moment. Okay.
Whereas Bill actually was panicked because he didn't understand why someone's walking in his house all of a sudden without, knocking on the door, and he knew that the door was locked or whatever.
Right. He also wasn't aware that John is coming over.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. If John had sent him like a quick message saying, hey, just letting
you
you know,
or whatever,
I'm coming over to collect this item 1 for my wife. Okay.
Yeah. So going back to the original question of what John should have done, well, obviously, I think that if John would come directly to the wife, to Bill's wife, to the sister-in-law, and say to her, oh, I caught Bill cheating.
That's a big assumption.
That's obviously a big assumption. And the wife, all of a sudden, from a very family friend kind of relationship, would automatically be much more suspicious. And it'll almost ruin the relationship with this girl that actually nothing happened with.
Okay.
Which is unfair on her, on the young girl.
Right.
If, on the other hand, he comes to his brother-in-law and asks him, and the brother-in-law tells him this, John might believe him. He might think this is just a story.
Right. Okay.
But then if John does the right thing, he would check with the sister-in-law. Oh, I heard that, Bill has this colleague
that lives nearby.
And actually checks if the wife is aware of her and hear what the wife talks about her and sees that kind of, if it fits the story that Bill told him or not.
Okay, so he can just random drop this question next time he sees the wife and then
and feel the air rather than automatically work on your assumptions and your emotions.
Yes, I agree with you, because if John goes to the sister-in-law, the wife, and say, I think he's cheating, that's really big assumption throwing at her, and that might ruin the relationship they have with this colleague, which basically considered as a family friend.
Yes, and it could also ruin the relationship between Bill and his wife,
yes,
which might be, in the eyes of the brother-in-law, John, a bad relationship, but actually maybe what he describes as a bad relationship is just a different type of relationship to what he has with his wife, and it's not a bad relationship.
Right. Okay. Right. So there's a bit of work John needs to do.
Yes, to be moral and to do the right thing here.
Yeah. So after he talked to his wife, what was his wife's advice? I kind of forgot. Can we just dial back a little bit and then see? I told my wife because I couldn't bear this on my own, and because it's a sister who's getting potential. Okay, so there was no feedback or anything from
the wife,
from his wife. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But obviously, if this was my sister and my husband would come to me and say, I caught them cheating, and he wouldn't give more details. Oh, obviously
You'll be furious.
I'll be furious, and I'll run to my sister because I want to protect her.
Happening. Yes, of course.
So again, this whole thing might have become much more messy than it could have if from the beginning John would have just checked directly with Bill what's going on.
Right. So he should send that message, the message he was thinking about sending, and Send a message. Yeah. Checking
Yeah,
with Bill, see
but-
what's happening.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to say that if I was Bill and I'd get a message, so that was awkward on Saturday, what's going on? And I don't see my relationship with this friend as an issue at all. I'd say, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Why did you walk into my apartment without knocking first or texting me? That would be my reaction, because I wouldn't even think that he thinks that this relationship might be
A problem.
a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that might make this whole conversation even more awkward, because John might see it as, oh, he's trying to avoid me.
Right. He's just covering up. Okay.
But in Bill's eyes, I'm not covering up. I just don't see it as an issue, so I won't raise it.
Yeah. So you're saying it's better to have a face-to-face conversation.
Yeah, and talk directly about the elephant in the room rather than walk around it, and not really. Everyone's working on assumptions rather
Yes,
than on
yeah.
reality.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I just think that we need to be really, really careful with assumptions in any type of relationship, in any type of situation. And often our assumptions are so entrenched in us
Yes.
that we aren't always even aware that it's an assumption. So we make the assumption as if it's the truth, or it actually happened,
Yeah.
when
yeah.
it actually didn't happen, and it's all in our head as an assumption.
Yes. Yes.
And that's
I agree
very
on that.
dangerous.
Yeah. Well, yeah, good story, good discussion. So, really, it could be both ways. Like, I do see it happening as the husband was actually cheating, almost get caught, or it is a platonic relationship like what he's describing.
Yes. So you still don't believe him. You think he's making this up.
It's a little bit shady. Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. I can see relationships like this in reality that are out there.
Nice. I guess that brings us to the end of this episode.
So thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you, Ayala. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
If you also have a relationship dilemma that you are struggling with and you would like us to bring it up here anonymously, you can email us on bestpossibleme.podcast@gmail.com. You can also find the email address in our podcast bio. Don't forget to like and follow our podcast so you get the notification of each new episode. See you next week.